Welcome back. Trayvon Martin standing in lines to buy Bills tickets, and when Buffalo hosted the World University Games. Dave McKinley has our weekly walk back through time when those stories and more were all news to you.
Would you believe it was 10 years ago this week?
We, the jury, find George Zimmerman not guilty.
The jury's findings that the U.S. Army veteran and neighborhood watch coordinator was acting in self-defense when he fatally shot 17-year-old Trayvon Martin set off protests throughout the country. It was the same week that the efforts of 3407 families resulted in the president's signature on legislation for more stringent airline pilot training.
I think I've learned that actually citizens can accomplish things.
In Buffalo, Venerable Pumpernickel and Pastries announced that due primarily to high taxes and the cost of doing business in New York State, it would be closing after 40 years. Renowned among Western New Yorkers for its baked goods and popular gourmet dog biscuits, it is perhaps somewhat fitting that the former bakery building on Clinton Street in Kaisertown now serves as a veterinary clinic. They got the ribbon on what you now know as the main entrance to the Buffalo Zoo, which replaced the old Parkside entrance, and thousands of fans, most of them teenage girls, flocked to First Niagara Center to see Justin Bieber at the height of his popularity this week in 2013. 20 years ago this week, when Bernie Sanders didn't look like this, but, well, more like this, and when then, just as now, that Demler lass was always drawing a crowd, ground was broken on the Frank Lloyd Wright filling station at the Buffalo Transportation Museum, which you can go see for yourself today how that turned out. The Builders Association still held its once very popular annual Horizon Tour of Homes, and back then when tickets went on sale for the upcoming season, Bills fans had to go to the stadium and stand in line and buy them in person. Long before it was ever dreamed there'd someday be an app for that. Oh, and we had new population figures for our fair city,
bringing the total city population to just under 288,000. The city has now dropped to 59th largest in the U.S.
Today, Buffalo ranks 78th largest, with 22,000 fewer residents than it had this week in 2003. 30 years ago this week, amid pomp, circumstance, and pageantry, the World University Games opened in Buffalo. The Olympic-style competition featured 3,600 athletes from 118 nations, most of whom stayed at the Athletes' Village. This week's News to You pop quiz: do you recall where the Athletes' Village was for the World University Games when they were held in Western New York 3 decades ago? These games are also remembered for half-dozen parachutists who missed the opening ceremony, literally because they mistakenly landed outside of the stadium, and for the 3 Cuban athletes who, while here, defected. The most notable among them, future Major League pitcher Eddie Oropeza, who just before the start of a game at Sal Magli Stadium in the Falls hastily hopped an outfield fence and ran to a waiting car to make his escape. Then, just as now, we had the taste of Buffalo. Only back then it was held on Main Street, and our reporter on the scene described it in this fashion.
Food filling faces. This is Buffalo's 10th annual Public Pig Out.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking either. Maybe it was something he ate this week in 1993 when it was all news to you.
Thank you, Dave. And here's the answer to this week's News to You pop quiz. We asked if you remembered where the Athletes' Village was located when the World University Games came to Buffalo 30 years ago this week in 1993. The answer: the Ellicott Complex at UB's North Campus. The athletes said the digs were decent enough, but their biggest complaint was that the dorms lacked air conditioning at a time when Western New York was also experiencing a heat wave.